Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
She saves them all, but cherish you, mother, like things that you follow the altar. Behind you, mother, her name is called. Please just a little longer.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman, W4CY Radio, and I'm very excited about our next guest because they're badass. So let's welcome to the show, Monolith. How are you?
Hey.
And I did pronounce it right? Like,
Yeah.
That's my biggest fear is pronouncing band names wrong. And if it's something I'm not sure of, I'll ask ahead of time. But this one I was pretty sure of. But then after I said it, I'm like, oh, let me make sure. Because you never know nowadays.
Yeah, you know, what we did is we picked a band name that like 20 other bands had so that everyone would know how to say it.
Yeah, there you go. That's a perfect idea. It does seem like that nowadays. How do you do band names nowadays? Like, that's why people are using symbols and letters upside down, because it's like every band name is taken.
I know, and you know, Prince owns the symbol thing. That's done.
Right.
It's like, so we don't know. We just I don't even know how we did it. We just threw a whole bunch of them in the hat. We talked about the sound of the band, us, all of it. It's just, then it showed up.
See, if I started a band now, I think just to be funny, I would just have like no name. It's like, instead of a symbol, it's just a blank space.
That is partially funny. I also think I also think what is interesting, and you know, in life, I grew up where pets had pet names, but then I started to, you know, spread out and meet people from the South who named their pets like actual names. Like,
oh, I hate that. To be honest, like, I know people that their dog is named Bob.
Yes,
Robert.
You know,
Robert, not even Bob, Robert. Like,
right.
Yes.
And
yes.
when they
come over here, like,
they use human names, but they're not even like unique names. They're like the most common human names there are, and it's
Mark.
just weird.
Right. So we considered naming the band Andrew or Billy or, you know, something.
That's actually a good idea too, man. That would be great. It'd be like just you know, and it's nobody's name in the band. You got to do it where it's nobody's name in the band, because that's what they're going to assume. Okay, you're the lead singer. That's probably your name, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So
in Pink Floyd, which one's Pink? That was the question.
Oh yeah, I love that one. That is funny.
Yeah.
And I love when there's people that have these fake names, but people think it is really their real name.
that happens to me all the time with Motley.
Right.
Yeah.
See, you know, and I'm sure, you know, Blothar, you know, that's his real name, right? I got a funny story about Blothar. Okay. I'm doing this interview with him over at Download, and their costumes didn't come. So the tour manager comes out to me and says, hey, Blothar's going to come out here, but he doesn't have any costume on. So like, don't let anybody know. But then Blothar was fucking with people. Like, there was a photographer right across from me during the interview who had like some gummy bears, and he goes to the dude. He's like, hey, you, hey, wait, let me have those. And you could totally tell it was the Blothar voice, you know. And Guar was playing there. Still, no clue whatsoever. It was funny as hell.
That is funny.
So tell our listeners a little bit about your band. For the people that have never heard you, don't know what you're about, how would you, the artist, describe your band?
Go ahead, Motley.
Oh, you're gonna give me that one.
Well, all right. How about? All right, I'll start it, then you kick in if you want. So our band has a rock metal sound as a genre. So that's the box that it goes in, but it is different in that the rhythms are very Latin based, and it's not just a general word Latin that breaks up into many very specific types of rhythms, and they're all intertwined here. That is all in our background somehow musically. And so if you combine that, you kind of put it into the rock metal, Latin music has a real great groove to it, and there are so many of them. Now you add that all of the songs they're all connected into a big story. You have a very focused thing with genre, with whatever it does with the lyrics and with the sound.
See, I love that, because if you look at my shirt, it's a Costa Rican shirt. I go to Costa Rica all the time, and I've talked to some of the media people that run like the other festivals, the media at the other festivals. And I'm like, man, I think we should do a festival in Costa Rica, because nobody does a rock one there. You have the Envision one there, and but and there are a lot of metalheads there, and people don't even realize it. And then now, so if I do that, then you guys are definitely on the ticket, because you would match.
Absolutely. And I have played there. That crowd is it is absolutely top 5 for craziness. Wow. I mean, like movement, bodies. It's a sea of people having an absolute blast. I
love it. Yeah, it's because they don't really have many. So it's not like, they can go to one every weekend. I also heard, I was thinking of covering Bangers Open Air this weekend, which is in Brazil. And I heard Brazil, they're like that, like big time. Like Rock in Rio is like, every band I talked to that's played there said it's the most insane festival they've ever played because of the audience.
Yeah. Again, I've done it, and it's the same thing. And I can't wait for us to be introduced to that entire area of the world, because they're going to know that their rhythms are in this, and it's going to work. Right. So yeah.
Which Latin countries would you say your rhythms are most assimilated to?
Well, Motley, you go, because Andy wrote a bunch, and then I put some, and you put some. So go ahead.
Basically, all the countries from the Caribbean will see some of their traditional rhythms in the songs. Brazil, of course, with all the Afro influences that they have, they're gonna see some stuff over there. And for the metal part, Chile and Argentina, they're gonna love it. So we have a big
nice
people in South America with all the projects.
And it's inherent in the music, because when I received the first chunk, I absolutely heard distinct Brazilian rhythms in the guitar and bass, distinct Caribbean, distinct Afro-Cuban, because Afro-Cuban is clave. It's just like bop, 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 bop. Like every rock beat is kind of like that. Boom, bop, boom, boom, bop. I mean, so this is already part of it, but we don't know that. When people didn't tell us that growing up, you listen to rock music. I know no one ever pulled me aside and said, "Do you realize what that actually is?" So
wow.
Yeah. So when I recognized it in the parts, especially rock beats and metal, very heavy on what's called the downbeat. So you have a big heavy beat, a rock boosh, bats, doosh, boop, boop, ba. You got Bonham, you got all the heavy stuff. But these guys, their instruments were not hitting one off it. They were off. They were moved. And the thing is, if you play Latin music with the drums moved off of the main beat, it's hard to know where the beat is. So
right.
I had to engineer it to play rock metal, but also hit what they were doing, and I was in absolute heaven. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was like, this is just exactly what I need to do.
I love that because, okay, so it's Friday. I live in South Florida, and right up the road from me, there's this place, Avocado Cantina, that they have a live Latin band every Friday night, and I go because they are badass, okay? And I do love, like, the different drum beats of Latin bands and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I have a trivia question for you, though, since we brought this up about drum beats. Do you know what kind of drum beat Dave Grohl used in Nirvana?
The name of it?
The genre.
To me, I don't know. Look, I could tell you who got the most rushing touchdowns in the NFL. I can tell you all kinds of stuff. But music, it just sounds like it's like a blah kind of, I don't know what you would call it, but like a punk polka kind of.
He used elements from disco, for what I understand.
He's got it. Yep. Dave Grohl admitted himself he stole it all from disco, which is so funny.
That's of an interview that I saw, but it's funny because in one of their last albums, he was using this rhythm, and he was super proud of the rhythm. And when he presented to the I think the record label, the guy from the record label was like, "Yeah, that's reggaeton." What are you talking about? That's reggaeton. And he put some songs, and he was like, "Oh, come on!"
I love it.
I didn't know that, but he can get away with making it sound however the heck he wants. It's just unbelievable.
I would have never known that unless I saw him say it himself, because it just never even occurred to me. I might not have liked Nirvana if I knew that ahead of time.
Yeah, I think almost the traka is coming from a disco song.
So let's tell the listeners a little bit about what you got going on, because you got new stuff going on right now. Let's talk about it.
Motley, describe. You take the video thing. Did this guy put the stuff together on paper, like every second, like every minute of the day? As soon as I landed, everything was accounted for. Every second of the video, the concept. Go ahead, Motley, give it to him.
So yeah, for the new listeners, we are the band Monolith. We have 2 singles already out with the videos. The videos are gorgeous. Everything is connected. So the story is basically you're receiving a chapter by chapter of a story. Very soon is coming the 3rd single. And the first single is about people in power and all the stuff that they do. The second single is about one of our main characters, which is the mother of the star child, which is the main character of the whole story of the album. The sacrifices that she have to do to keep his son, going. The third song is coming out very soon. I don't want to give too much into, but it's more about situational things that are happening. And little by little, we're going to be releasing more and more and more and more. In the meantime, we're collecting data about the whole situation and try to make sure that we do the right thing for the fan base that we are creating with all this.
Nice. And there is a lot to talk about in songs nowadays, for sure.
Yeah. We're trying to do the best that we can and not leave holes open in any of the different aspects of the production of the song. Musically, lyrically, video-wise, production-wise, everything, instrumentally, everything. So it takes time. It's an effort. Thanks God, all the team is super professional. We have the best freaking drummer on the planet. The guitar player is a producer for years, for libraries. So the guy knows to do every single rhythm that you can imagine. Plus the background of the guys is unbelievable. He has been working with a lot of people from the Caribbean, from Haiti, from Cuba, Puerto Rico. So the guy is a library for real of rhythms. an amazing bass player too, and vocalist. So when you add all that with Mike and the production team that we have, the management team, the product that we're trying to give to the people is like the top notch that you can get right now.
I love it. That's great. And you're right. It does take time. I think that's one of the benefits that happened from COVID, from the lockdown, is that musicians finally, remembered what it was like to actually create instead of being on a hamster wheel, and just let's put this record out real quick and blah, 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 blah. And then you put it out as an artist and you're like, well, that's not really what I would want the finished product. But, and now I think artists have the ability to take that time and realize that they need to take that time to create the best music.
Yeah, because it is about that. And another aspect of the Monolith music is we really reevaluate it and make sure that it's digestible. And we have to go through some changes because it's so easy to write and write. And I learned the hard way. I'm not a singer, but I work with them, producing my own music, solo album. I realized there was a difference between writing somebody singing it, and not only someone singing it, but somebody actually listening to it. Yeah. It's a whole different thing. You gotta, so we reevaluate. It's like, what is the name of this song? Do you hear it? Are people going to say this word? Are they going to sing this? And you have to go and maybe tweak some things to make sure that the message just hits. What's the message? How about this? What a song like do da 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 doesn't mean anything, right? But you sing it. Right. She loves me, yeah. The Beatles, bing, 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 bing. So
how about with the Beatles? How about Revolution Number 9? Like, I can't believe I used to listen to that over and over again, and that's all they're saying. The whole thing.
That's true.
So we have to balance it because we have to keep the integrity of Monolith, which means the story, the sound, and the presentation of these really, really high-end videos that we've been giving to people. So I love it. It's a whole thing.
Because to me, music is multiple things. It's not just a song. I think it's all of it. Like you're talking about, it's the videos, it's the production, it's the live, it's, it has to be something that hits all senses, is what I think.
Yeah,
it does, and it has to. But it has to be delivered that way, though. You can't. If a musician just plays a part, that's not the same as if his soul is in it.
No.
What I found was very, very, very interesting for me is when I am music with people, I'm inside of all of them, like with the soul. I would really connected to everybody. And when you've got a group of people that's like-minded like that, the whole thing is just powerful.
Yeah, 100%. And, to your point before, you can tell if a band is going through the motions or if they really have their heart and soul in it. And I was talking about this in an interview yesterday. There's one band that I actually love, but I go and I do all these coverage at all these festivals, and it's the ongoing joke backstage between all the media people that this is like the most boring band live ever. And because they just look like they're just up there like working, and they just play and
who?
Oh, I won't do that.
I lost you.
Oh, I didn't say who. Oh, I didn't say who. I just said there's this one band I really love, but I won't say who,
Okay, good.
But I don't love them live. It's like, I'll just go listen in my car. And, it's an ongoing joke backstage because everybody loves the band, but it's like, they have been voted like the worst band live ever. But then you take other bands that maybe aren't that talented musically, but if they do a great production and a great show and great videos, people love them.
Yeah.
Everything is a balance. You got to try to give your best all the time, every time, in every single aspect, because in the end, people is paying, and if you don't give yourself the, all that you can, people notice it. People feel the energy. People notice it.
Oh yeah. They feed off of it. Like if you're somebody that's really into it, the whole crowd's going to go crazy, and they see it.
100%.
May I add that sometimes I will tell you, touring life is horrible. You're tired all the time. So it's, there might be a time where you're into it, but you're so tired. You can't bring. I mean, I have played so many shows in Japan after only arriving for 1 day to recover, which you do not recover for 13 hours a day. You just don't.
Yeah.
Right. So I have been on stage thinking that I was asleep, and I don't know how my body ever, no matter what the band was in my whole life, and I've been there with all of them, I still to this moment have no idea how I did it. And I know at that moment I'm not going to seem like, throwing the sticks up and I'm all energetic. I'm probably going to be like, like this.
I love that.
That's how the start can let you video.
It's in the Oligarchs video. That's my sister's move. My sister does that.
Oh, that's so funny.
I started doing that with with sunglasses.
I thought.
Yeah, let's see.
But yeah, there it is. But you know what I mean. Sometimes you just can't get. But you know what? There's still something else that makes us, almost. We don't understand really what we are fully as a human person. And there's this other thing. There's this other part of us, and it's got to have meaning and the soul, all that stuff. It does come out. But I'm just saying that sometimes it's just brutal to even get to a stage and play.
I'm glad you brought that point up, because I don't think people understand, they don't understand how grueling it can be sometimes. Even me, like, I'm not a musician, but I go on tour and I do all these festivals, radio coverage, and like starting next weekend, okay, I'm at a festival every weekend till October. Okay. And now post COVID, the festivals aren't 2 and 3 days. They're 4 days and then a pre-party. So it's basically all week. And, it's like people call to me, oh, you're living the dream life, going all over the place. And part of that is true. But then they don't see the other part of it where, like, I don't sleep for 6 months, or whatever, you're sick or whatever, or the festival dust. Like, man, I can't breathe most of the time because of the festival dust, and you lose your voice, and there's certain things about it that are great, and there are others that are just grueling. And then you guys as musicians, man, it's even worse. Like, I even wonder how sometimes singers sing at a festival with that festival dust, or like I see some bands where like they have the costumes on, or they have big leather jackets on, and it's in Florida and it's 80 million degrees and 100% humidity. And that's like torture. I was at Hellfest and it was 104 degrees. And I'm like, how do bands even perform in that?
What was that, Motley?
I'm pretty sure they pass out after the show.
There are and there have been, you've seen, and I'm sure you've seen it firsthand, people like get heat stroke and during the middle of the set
100%.
And get carted off.
Yep.
So that's the part people don't see. Like, it's a grind, And you really have to love it too. Like my daughter, sometimes my youngest, she'll sometimes come to a festival with me, and at a half a day through the first day, she's like, Dad, I don't know how you do this every weekend. I'm already done.
Talking about show, guys, I gotta go. My time. Hey, Mike, I leave you here. Love you.
Okay.
Love you guys. Sorry,
Hey,
bye.
You rock. It's okay. Thanks.
Rock and roll, baby. Rock and roll.
We love you. You rock. All right.
You know what's interesting is I have played it just within the last several years, 3 shows with food poisoning and 2 with double walking pneumonia. I played 3 with double walking pneumonia before, and I've got to tell you, I mean, it's impossible to even crawl to the drums, especially if it's a 2 or 3 hour show, and it's just you just want it to stop. But you know, the funny thing is when you get to the point that I got to, there's something that takes over, and it's just amazing how the human body can survive this. I mean, I think it's the most unhealthy, god-awful thing ever, but you're up there doing it, and the worst is just the fear, especially with food poisoning, is when can I run off the stage and find, you know, a toilet? It's like, I don't even care if that's gross to talk about. It is real. And if you're out, you know, if you're out there thinking, I want to be in a band and go out, but you're really, when you try to do this, can you look at like, okay, 57 minutes from now, there's a little keyboard piece, and I've got literally a minute and 4 seconds to get off the stage, do whatever I have to do, and make it back. And once, and it was a show in Poland, I did not make it back. You could see me jumping on the drums, and then I just started playing as if nothing was wrong, because, you know, you want to be professional. But what's interesting is that, lo and behold, this gets pointed out to me by whoever else. It's like, oh, somebody made a YouTube video saying how bad a drummer you are that you forgot where you were. And I'm just like, leave me alone.
I know people just say shit, man. Like it just blows my mind that people just say, how much hate people put out there. Like I remember, what was it, last year, Corey Taylor came out on Instagram and all socials and said he needed to cancel some of his shows, not Slipknot shows, his shows in North America, for his physical health and his mental health. And the hate he got for that crap blew my mind, because it's like, come on, he was honest with you, and he's telling you, like, this is not good for his health. It's just a show, okay? There'll be another one. Why do you want these people to risk their health like that? And that's why you have situations like a Chester or a Chris Cornell, because they never have a chance to get, you know, right.
It is an interesting existence to be, I guess, people want a piece of you, and they feel very, very connected and everything, but it's very odd, because when it's you, that's the person, and you really perceive this, and the way people feel around you, the things that they say about you, and all of that stuff. There is no way to conclude that this is okay. I get it. It's not okay. You know, it's like you shouldn't be hating on anybody and saying these things. It's like it's like someone won't say something to your face. You know, they won't say it to your face. But
yeah, I hate that.
You get on and do it, but you know, this is a part of human nature. Blah blah blah. But like I said, this is nothing I've been able to conclude that says that's okay. I mean, I accept all of it. And I have to, and I have to have a sense of humor on top of it, which thankfully I have a drummer's sense of humor. We're all a little bit, we have a couple of screws are out up here, I think. I don't know. I mean, we're in it. So you got to have a sense of humor, but I can't imagine. I mean, I know how he felt with what was said. It must have just made him want to just say, you know what, bye,
Yeah, fuck off. Like, come on, man. He's a human being, and it holds true for a lot of artists, and stuff like that. What they go through. That's why I'm pointing it out, because like the audience is sometimes relentless. Like, they expect you to be superhuman, and you are just a human being.
Yep. Yeah, and anybody that's in that position, it could be an athlete, any kind of athlete, a musician, or whatever it is. You have to have it's almost like you either have to been raised by really, really, really strong parents that just taught you right and wrong, like don't engage, don't do any of this, or you probably have to have been raised by a jackal and you're just going to attack people. You just go right at them, because there are musicians and athletes that will go after. They will go right after all of these people saying something like, for me, it's just, I got a sense of humor, whatever, but
you gotta.
Like that, the situation like that, with what the people put Corey through, it's hard. But, but you just look at it and go, well, I'm just simply going to do what I'm going to do over here. And you go to the next thing, and that's all you can do.
No doubt, 100%. So tell everybody how they can reach out to you guys on the web, on socials, get your music, buy your merch, check out tour dates, all that good stuff.
The thing to do is we are a real Monolith band, because there are other bands that have that name, but it's ours. So surprisingly, it was available. So, but it's Monolith. So we have Instagram, of course, and Facebook, and you just look up Real Monolith Band on Instagram or Facebook, and we have a team of people to look at, which stuff. You just go there and it's just behind the scenes. You've got, we have so much content. We were very, 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 very cognizant of this before we even got together to film, this just chunk of videos with this amazing video team, a group of people. So we have like cell phone footage of let's say what the camera was seeing, or of us looking at the screen that the camera was projecting to. Like, it's all kinds of cool things. Like, ooh. It's like, oh yeah, well, I always wanted to know what that looked like or something. So
I love that.
And I had a couple of cameras on my drums, and I turned over that footage so that it's like, oh, you just got that camera the whole time, and you actually hear the real drums that were being played during the video, which it's not any production or anything. It just sounds like drums in a hallway, whatever. Right. But just stuff like that is real. It's real.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's real. I'd rather have that than just it sounding perfectly. And I think that's a thing nowadays too. People don't want perfection and polish. They want real.
Yeah, and there's a balance. For example, what I learned writing music did two things for me. One thing that it did is it allowed me to get a feeling for what it was like to actually work with me as a drummer, because when I write music, it's not about the drums. It's about the song. And so when I go to play the drums for a lot of my songs, if you listen to my entire solo album, I'm not under Mike Mangini. It's under Mangini, and you can find it for free if you want on Spotify or whatever your service is. But what happens is that the songs that are the most singable and powerful have the drums that are the most simple, which at first when I released it aggravated a particular audience that was looking for fireworks and stuff. And I was like, yeah, but I'm going to ruin the song if I put too much. And so that's one thing. So I got a feeling for what it was like. The other thing is that the actual words and the melodies and the way that things sound hits the brain first.
Yeah.
You don't process like do 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 da 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 whatever, or there's so many songs that the artist will tell you they're just blabbing stuff. It's Here it is. So it's the sound.
Yeah.
And you learn that. So with Monolith, we're really cognizant of these things. So we're just that's all I got to tell you is everyone's very aware, and we put it out there. We talk about it. We make room for each other. But here's the bottom line. That's very important: is that if you see a digital file, especially with the string instruments, guitar number one. And a piano is still strings, It's just, even though it's synthesized now. But if you look at the wave files, they are walls. It's just a wall. Right. If you look at the drums are very spiky, And so if you think about this for a minute, how is it possible that a spiky thing like drums that are hit, not like a drum machine doing it, but a human being doing it, and you're not going to get every hit to go exactly the same. How are you supposed to hear that behind the wall of sound? So what you have to do is find a balance with production so that it's real. You can actually, if anybody heard my isolated drums, I can hear my pedal actually moving. So no one's going to say, oh, that's a fake this and fake drum something. Well, what did I make a fake pedal?
I know, right?
You can actually hear it going zoom, which you can't really do with all the music, but you have to engineer it so that it cuts through that wall, especially with rock or metal. The guitar is just an absolute wall, period. Yeah. Most of the time. So
that's a good way of putting it, for sure, because most people, they kind of don't understand that concept. And the way you put it, like, that's spot on right there, and it is kind of hard to match them together. It's like matching a square with a circle.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. And for anybody listening that knows the difference when they hear certain kinds of music, that like the bass drum cannot possibly be real fully. It just can't be, because every hit is exactly the same, and it is not sound enhanced. It's often just sound replaced,
right?
And there are certain kinds of music like that just trigger, like the speed metal stuff. But let me give you an example with Monolith, where a moment where I used my feet a certain way came up, and I kind of was taken back because I thought, am I missing a note? Did I, but the thing is, we didn't sound replace the bass drum, and it's dynamic. So some of the moves, like this foot hit a little lighter than this, the note's there, and there are, there are manipulations you could do to just get it so that it's heard. But, one has to be very careful with things. So the point is that it's real. You will hear these dynamics, but there's enough production post, because I know, because I engineered the drums and submitted the tracks. I was like, here they are. And then our other guy, Gabo, got them and did his little tweaking. And then our mix engineer, Dan, got it and did what he did with, like he made the lasagna. So he made the lasagna. So it did very, very well. And that's got to be tough too, of a mix engineer, that people are submitting. They're not giving you the raw tracks, which you would prefer, because then you can really manipulate and sculpt it how you hear it. But in our case, it's stems that are given, and it's a little bit more difficult, I think, if I was a mix engineer. But the bottom line is that it's real, that you hear and feel the dynamics, and that with production and a wall of sound, with Monolith, Andy, our guitarist, has dynamics. So it's not always like out there.
Yeah. And what you said about the pedals makes so much sense, because I'm thinking about it. Okay, you're playing if you play double bass, one foot and one leg is stronger than the other. That's your more dominant. So it's kind of hard to have them both do it exactly the same, because nothing you do in life is like that, because you have your stronger side.
Well, always. And I made a career out of flipping the drum kit around and learning to play very strongly with, quote, my weak side. But what I found interesting for the 6 years that I learned how to play the opposite way is that as my weak side got stronger and stronger and stronger and was able to match the velocity, my strong side got even stronger because my brain was sending a signal to these limbs that were like, I don't know what to do, so my brain's like bang, 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 bang. So now this brain gets turned over to the strong side, that with my right foot and my right hand, accept the signal from the brain much more quickly. And like, whew, my speed went through the roof on the right side. And I'm like, no matter what, my right's going to beat up the left. This is how it's going to be.
It's just how it is, Like I surf, I skateboard. And if I try to do the opposite, like I'm goofy, and if I try to do normal or regular, I don't even know what I'm doing. My brain can't handle it.
It's interesting. There's a science to training yourself to be as symmetrical as possible. If you go after the interview and you take a good look at some of the drum kits that I've used, or you even go to my YouTube channel, whatever, and you see not my drum kit from Monolith or from my last Dream Theater tour, but if you go prior to that, you'll see an absolutely symmetrical setup. And I have to be, quote, even on both sides. But as you're saying, at the end of the day, you still have your dominant side. Anyway. No doubt.
So is there anything else you want to tell the listeners about what's going on with Monolith or anything that we have not covered already?
No, we've covered it. Except one thing, that as far as our plans and things like that, we are adjusting to this new environment that's out there. In other words, we're not the first band. It's like, well, you know what? We're not going to put out some album. It's going to be released in a month, and we'll do a little teaser, and then bang, the album comes out. You will know. Wait a minute. We're going to just collect the data. We're putting songs out and videos. We're just going to keep doing it. And we're going to go with the flow for this new world that we live in, because it's not what it used to be.
No, it's not, for sure. And so you're doing the smart thing, because it kind of blows my mind. They've even changed how you should write songs nowadays, and because you're appealing to this low attention span, goldfish attention span society we live in. So it's like some of my favorite metal songs ever have the coolest intros that you would never get through nowadays. Like you take a song like I was playing for my grandson the other day, Battery. Okay. Most people listen. I had to actually tell them, just hold on, wait, wait till you hear it, and it's like, because they're like, okay, that doesn't sound good. Next.
Yeah, I've had to do it too. It's like, oh, just give it a minute. They're like, the song will be in about a minute.
Right.
The song. It's like, oh, the music already started. You hear synthesizer, you hear colors, you hear things going on. And in fact, I did it in a class 2 days ago where I had played the beginning of a particular song, and it sounds like a helicopter at the beginning. And I told everyone in the class that that's my feet. My feet are on these electronic hi-hat pedals and go, but it was put through an effect. It was like, whoa, it sounds like a helicopter, right?
That's cool.
And it's like, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Like I have to make an excuse going, wait till the thing comes in and it gets exciting.
Right, exactly. Whereas we knew it was going to get to there, and we loved the surprise of it. Like I remember the first time listening to Fast as a Shark, and it was like, I would have never nowadays, if I was young nowadays listening to that song, I would be like, what the frick is this? And then, but then it was like, when it happened, it's like, oh my God, that was the best thing ever, and it's stuff like that, that is even the fact of, I was talking to somebody about this, like in songwriting, they're teaching people now, get rid of the intro, get rid of the solo, get rid of the bridge. Don't do 3 verses or more. It's only 2 verses. And I'm thinking, wow, like you can't even sit through a song.
Right, I know. You got to have it. It's as you know, it's all about the song itself and the music and everything behind it. Because 2 days ago, I listened to a bunch of Toto tracks, and it's like from the very second one of those songs starts, it pulls you, and the groove. It's just like it's in. There's time. The song does come in, but it's usually pretty quick, and they get you right there. But that's well done. It's like, as soon as you hear "Beat It" by Michael Jackson, I know that I can't wait for Eddie Van Halen's guitar solo, and it's like I will wait till I hear that.
But it was great. You guys are badass, and I thank you for making such great music for us, and thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
You are welcome. It was an adventure.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.